It's official. President Donald Trump now has the full backing of the US Supreme Court to go ahead with one of the most controversial policies of his presidency: deporting illegal migrants, not necessarily to their home countries, but to Africa. Yes, you heard that right. The highest court in the United States has cleared the way for America to start using parts of Africa as a literal dumping ground for undocumented migrants, some of whom have no ties to the continent whatsoever. And the most disturbing part, some African countries are actually agreeing to it. In a 6-3 ruling, the conservative majority US Supreme Court overturned a lower court decision that had demanded due process for migrants facing deportation to third-party countries. Now, this means the Trump administration can now send migrants from places like Myanmar, Laos, Cuba, and even Mexico to countries like South Sudan or Rwanda with barely any warning. The ruling has ignited a firestorm of criticism from human rights groups, African governments, and immigrant advocates alike. But for Trump and his team, this is a major legal win, and it's only the beginning. So what exactly does this mean? Essentially, if someone enters the US without documentation and is flagged for deportation, they might no longer be returned to their country of origin. Instead, they could be flown to an African country that has cut a deal with the Trump administration. Let's say a migrant from Vietnam is caught and ordered deported. Under this new plan, they could find themselves sent not to Vietnam, but to South Sudan, a country struggling with its own internal crisis, now being asked to absorb the US's immigration burden. Trump is not hiding the ball here. This is part of his wider strategy in his second term to radically overhaul immigration policy. He has already imposed travel restrictions on a staggering number of African countries, including Nigeria, Eritrea, Sudan, Tanzania, Libya, Somalia, and others. That's right. He's made it harder for Africans to legally enter the US. And now, he is turning around and forcing deportees from all over the world onto African soil. Isn't it strange that after shutting the door on Africans, he is using the continent as a backdoor dumping site? This Supreme Court ruling came just after a federal judge temporarily blocked the deportation of 8 migrants to South Sudan. The group included individuals from countries as diverse as Myanmar and Cuba. The Trump administration labeled them the worst of the worst. But critics argue that no matter the alleged crimes, stripping them of the right to contest deportation and tossing them into unfamiliar and unstable African nations is not just morally wrong, it is dangerous. Justice Sotomayor, in a blistering dissent, accused the court's majority of rewarding lawlessness and called out the administration for openly flouting court orders. But in today's America, her words may fall on deaf ears. You might be wondering, why would any African country agree to such a deal? Well, the answer isn't surprising. Money. According to reports, countries like Rwanda are in talks, and others such as Libya, Benin, Angola, and Equatorial Guinea have been floated as potential partners. For governments strapped for cash and desperate for foreign investment or aid, the US offer likely comes with significant financial incentives. But is the money worth turning your country into a global trash bin for unwanted migrants? Make no mistake, this policy has sparked outrage. Civil society organizations, African opposition parties, and legal experts are raising the alarm about the humanitarian fallout of this plan. South Sudan, already fragile and plagued by war and poverty, could collapse under the pressure of absorbing migrants who neither speak the language nor understand the culture. What jobs will they do? Where will they live? Who will be responsible if they fall into crime or destitution? These are questions that few seem to have answers to. And it's not just about logistics. There's a deeper question of dignity here. What message does this send about how Africa is viewed on the global stage? That it's a place to be paid off in exchange for absorbing the world's undesirables? That its peoples don't deserve a say in who enters their countries so long as a powerful nation says so? And more importantly, what does this say about the African leaders willing to sign such deals? From Trump's perspective, the plan makes perfect political sense. He gets to appear tough on immigration, offload a thorny domestic issues, and sidestep the lengthy process of deportation appeals. He believes this will deter future migrants from crossing into the US illegally. For the African governments who agree, it's about survival, economic, political, or both. Some may be hoping to leverage the deal for military aid, trade deals, or international goodwill. Others may simply not have the capacity or the willpower to say no to the world's most powerful country. From the perspective of the illegal immigrants themselves, this is a nightmare scenario. Imagine fleeing violence or poverty in your homeland, surviving a treacherous journey to America, only to be told you're being sent to a place you've never seen, with no chance to argue your case. It's the kind of policy that raises serious questions about the future of international human rights law. Where does compassion end and cold diplomacy begin? As Africans, we must ask, are we really so desperate that we will sell out our sovereignty for a few $1,000,000? Are our countries so expendable that we can afford to absorb people who have no business being here, while our own youth suffer from unemployment and poverty? If the US has failed to manage its immigration crisis, why must we bear the burden? Some African nations are already pushing back. Public outcry is growing in places like Ghana, Senegal, and South Africa, where people are demanding to know why their governments are even entertaining such a proposal. Activists are calling it what it is: neocolonialism in disguise. First, they took our people as slaves. Now, they want to send us people they don't want, many of whom aren't even African. The bottom line is this: Africa should not be anyone's dumping ground. We are not a landfill for failed policies. We have enough to deal with, from youth unemployment and food insecurity to climate challenges and political instability. If the US Supreme Court wants to back Trump's plan, that's their business. But African nations must stand up and say no. We are not the world's asylum attic. We are not for sale. In the end, this isn't just a legal issue or political stand. It's a question of African dignity. Will we rise to defend it? Or will we once again be treated as the world's forgotten backyard? The time to decide is now. Your perspective matters. What do you make of Trump using Africa as a dumping ground for illegal immigrants? Share your thoughts and insights in the comment section below. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the new Africa channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our informative future videos. Stay informed, stay engaged, and thank you for watching.